Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and call up those who have requested to speak on this subject, and we'll start with Hunter Young.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Sorry, I was the guy coughing in the back with the cold back there. My name's Hunter Young. I am a camaraderie chair and board member for the University of Notre Dame Club of Phoenix. And we've been fortunate for the past 6 years to have found a home for our football game watches at Rock Bar. Actually, we were at Upper Deck before that. They weren't as loyal of a partner as before they closed, and we actually chose to go to Rock Bar with Alex. And for the last 6 years, they've been a trusted partner, nothing better than a trusted advisor, an advocate for our charities and our extended charities. We've really enjoyed the partnership. Game watches are extremely important to our organization as a gateway to the extended community beyond just the alumni. And the most critical factor when we're looking at these different game watches is having this outdoor-indoor environment. The ability to go inside and outside, to have that flexibility, our members love that. And the ability to have the food is critical. Back in 2016, when they added the food, I think that we were kind of instrumental, probably along with other members, to request them to add food, because we probably would have left, honestly, if they didn't have food. Our members love it. Our attendance has been growing. And frankly, if we didn't have that, we probably would choose to go somewhere else if we didn't have that outside option. So yeah, the food, I love it. We love Rock Bar, and I humbly request as a member of the University of Notre Dame Club of Phoenix that you adopt this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Next would be Tim Bradshaw.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Again, I'm someone else who also enjoys the establishment at Rock Bar. Same thing. A little different. We have a Philadelphia Eagles fan club that we go and enjoy and watch the games there at Rock Bar. And same thing. If they hadn't added the food a couple years ago, again, we probably would have ended up moving to a different establishment. But the addition of the food has been great. Everybody who I've had a chance to talk to always raves about the food and how great that they enjoy it. Everybody is, and especially considering we have a pretty decent crowd that comes out. Everybody, even out on the patio, gets served food, and everybody seems to really enjoy it. Everybody has a great time. So, I strongly agree and hope that you guys do get a chance to adopt this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bradshaw. Next is Sandra Schenken.
Good evening, Mayor Lane, Vice Mayor Phillips, and council members. My name is Sandra Schenken, and my address is on file. The Rock Bar has been on my radar since 2014. I think you know my story. It is a hard rock music and sports bar that is located in a high-end business district on Craftsman Court. The entertainment district on the east side of Scottsdale Road is about half-mile away. Scottsdale's entertainment district appears to be well supported by all of you as an economic driver. The Rock Bar parcel owner, John Abbey, has contributed to the mayor's campaign fund as well as to campaign funds for Cordy, Millhaven, and Clapp. The bar owner and manager, Alex Monday, also has contributed to your campaigns. In a recent meeting, Councilman Smith noted that Tempe has a limit of $500 for campaign fund contributions, and he proposed that Scottsdale do the same. Council majority voted that motion down. Los Angeles has a cap of $800. Scottsdale has a cap of $6,350 from each individual donor. So this gives our funding of council members a big opportunity to collect a lot of money. It appears to me that every vote for a bar or developer.
Ms. Schenkat, the agenda item is the lease on this patio. If you would stick to that.
I'm getting there.
appreciate
I'm getting there.
Well,
It appears to me that the vote for the bar and developers who have donated to council campaigns is technically a city ethic code violation as a conflict of interest, according to Arizona. I'm saying that this is
I understand
a
what
possible
you're saying. I'm just
idea
saying that we're
you
not
should-
talking about election law here.
I'm
or
talking
even
about you recusing yourselves because you're violating Arizona Statute 38-503. So I'm requesting that the people that have been given money be recused from this vote. There are so many issues that this request for a 15-year land lease for a dining, drinking, smoking patio, that several others will be addressing the ills of this lease arrangement city staff has recommended. I certainly hope that the audience and council members have read the December 9th two-page article published by Scottsdale Progress. It outlines all the relevant issues of why the three remaining council members who never received any contributions.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I probably should have caught that too. Yes, you're going to have to.
So vote no, please.
Time has expired, though.
Follow the money.
Okay, thank you. Next would be Federica Benucci.
Good evening, Mayor Lane and council members. My name is Federica Ranucci, and my property across from Rock Bar is a matter of record. I want to talk about the City Council report, which incredibly recommends authorizing a 15-year outdoor dining license without offering a single good reason. By the way, $7.41 a square foot is far below market. But nevertheless, it struck me as I read through the report how deficient, inadequate, and frankly misleading it is. It tells us that there's a restaurant parcel, that there are no adverse impacts, and that there are many similar patios in the area. The problem is that this is completely false. I can't believe we pay city staff to engage in this kind of duplicity. But let's examine the report first. What does it say about Rock Bar? Absolutely nothing. Except that it's a restaurant parcel. Well, Rock Bar is not a restaurant. I met with Alex Mundy and asked him if they call themselves a restaurant. No, he says they're more like a bar and a grill. But they don't have a grill. And more importantly, they're not a restaurant. They are an event venue with loud, live rock and roll music and events, along with a bar that has a Series 6 liquor license. Second glaring omission, the report says nothing about Craftsman Court. By now, I hope most of you have had a chance to visit the street. I think you'll find it's lovely and charming, with 95% of the businesses either specialty retail or personal service type businesses, almost everyone catering to an upscale clientele. It's not entertainment. I actually had to laugh when I read the general plan goal at the top of page 1 of the report, quote, to encourage high-quality retail and entertainment. Evidently, city staff does not really understand the meaning of high quality, with the loud, obnoxious, and juvenile tour de tavern monstrosity that we have, or the golf carts with the trashy ads. I'd say it's a rather low bar for high quality at the city. And how about this for deception? On page 1 under background, it reads, quote, there are outdoor dining patios in operation in the surrounding area, including 4 on the canal and 3 on Scottsdale Road. Of course, the report doesn't bother to tell us those other patios. Here they are. Olive and Ivy, Tapas Papa Frida's, the now vacant Herb Box, Barrio Queen, Geisha, Go-Go, Farm and Craft. And they also, by the way, threw in BS West. But please, this is not a model outdoor dining patio, so no honest report would have included it. So with the exception of BS West, they're all full-scale, full-service restaurants. How could they possibly support the case for Rock Bar? Finally, I'd like to say that city staff does a grave disservice, if not outright damage, to the community with this egregious deception, its relentless support of the bars, and total disregard for the rest of the street. I don't wish to be here, but you force neighbors to oppose each other, you foment division, hostility, antagonism, and for this reason, most would rather say nothing. That's why they all sign on. But we love the street where we've had businesses for 20 and 30 years. And we don't want to see the door once again opened to undesirable elements coming in and potentially ruining it. Those patios took 8 years on my part and the hard work of others to actually get rid of them. And we're looking at a 15-year lease here. I hope.
Ms. Manucci, your time has expired.
Okay.
Please wrap it up.
I hope that you reject this license and find a better way to encourage high quality, if that is truly your intent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Manucci. Next would be Sonny Kirtley, with some donated time from Louise Lamb and Jim Haxby. So 5 minutes then, please.
4 minutes and 50 seconds.
Okay.
My name is Sonny Kirtley. I'm the chairman of COGS, the Coalition of Greater Scottsdale. Mayor Lane, Vice Mayor Phillips, and council members, we alerted you last week with a pamphlet or a series of pages and images that we had 3 concerns about this lease agreement. As I listened to the testimony today, some of it I will not repeat because it was part of our position. We appreciate that Dan went through some of the concerns early on and tried to address them. However, we still have 3 concerns. The first concern is that definitions, that seems to be the problem on so many of the cases that we come to. How do you define dining? It's not a dining patio. How do you define fully prepared food? How do you define kitchen? These terms are throughout the lease. If it is patio dining, let's take a look at one of the images here. Sandy, may I pull your... For some of us that go out for an evening and we've budgeted, we do dining, and dining usually has sit-down furniture. On this particular patio, as you see, it is bar stools and bar tables. So the question comes then, how is it used? Because the lease agreement says dining. That's a different definition. So this is a daytime image. People are sitting at the open wall that we discussed in 2015, right, Alex? And it's drinks. There's not food involved there. This is an evening one done recently. He's opening a pack of cigarettes. It appears to be mostly just drinking and smoking. And when I worked on the general plan, this is what we were not encouraging for downtown to energize. We were encouraging full-scale use of patios, and this is city property, so we would hope you would support that as well. A couple weeks ago, they had a live entertainment event. So, of course, the windows or the wall is open and the front door is open, too. It's supposed to be closed, Alex. The circle is around ashtrays. There's not food present here. I waited around quite a while. I never got anybody that was eating food. So the question is anything you put in your mouth going to qualify that you've just dined at Rock Bar? You've already seen the menu. You've already seen the kitchen. So again, what's the definition of a kitchen? If you go to the state, it requires that if you're doing the restaurant experience of dining, 40% of your receipts are food receipts. That hasn't been part of the conversation. The kitchen? Oh, come on. Compare that to the kitchens of the other outside patio establishments. They have full menus, huge kitchens, full staffs. The dining has the correct furniture. So I think one of our major problems in our town and for the future, we need to make some definitions here so that it will assist our establishments as well to know whether they meet the criteria. So back to our original 3. Oh, by the way, on the revenue, I disagree with you, Dan. It's common knowledge that commercial rental value factors in the tenant's revenue source. If you look at the figures for this, it's about $258.75 a month in rent for our property. They only have to sell 2 drinks each night for 30 days to pay that. 2 drinks. You know they're selling at least 2 drinks in an hour. That's a cheap rent. So, in summary, the lease should accurately reflect and identify the terms of the lease and the kitchen, whether they're going to have foods or not. We recommend then that it read that there's no requirement for restaurant dining. It's nor fully prepared food with 10 different entrees, and it does not have to have a qualified kitchen. Number 2, the lease agreement is for 5 years or less. Number 3, we recommend a continuation as needed to give the staff time to review the comparables in the area again. Dos Gringos sold, I'm told, $700 per square foot. So when they do that, COGS is very confident that the revenue stream for the city will be much higher. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kirtley. Next would be Kevin Maxwell.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you so much for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Kevin Maxwell. I live in Scottsdale on Cambridge Avenue. I saw that this was taken off of consent a couple weeks ago and presented for some additional scrutiny tonight, and I was wondering why that was, and I think listening to the previous testimony, it's pretty clear now why that was. And also I present myself to you now as an undesirable element, because I frequent this location quite a bit, and if I'm an undesirable element, then I apologize to the other citizens of Scottsdale. As far as fine dining goes, is Rock Bar a fine dining establishment? Absolutely not. Do they have tablecloths and white linens? Absolutely not. Just because they have tabletops, you sit up in high chairs and sit up at a bar that serves food outside, it's perfectly fine with me. I think that's a restaurant every day of the week. Almost all the places that dine as an undesirable element have that type of seating situation. So to me, it's very much a restaurant. If you want to scrutinize the equipment and talk about is that the biggest kitchen in the city, absolutely not. But they serve delicious food. I know that because I'm there all the time. And so, and yeah, you could probably stalk the place for a while and find a time when the patio is vacant and there's nobody food there and take a quick picture of that and present that as evidence of not being a restaurant. I know when I'm there, everybody's eating. They come borrow my food. We treat each other's food, so I know that other people are eating all the time there. So this is very much a restaurant to me. Not only is it a restaurant, but it's a good restaurant. Mr. Money's been a really good person who's been involved and he wants to know what it's going to be a good neighbor. He's always talked to me about being a good neighbor and what he can do a bit better. So I think that's the kind of people we want down there. You know, we talk about tourism and we want to have people go to the restaurants and have a great time. To me, a Rock Bar is the epitome of what that is. You sit outside, it's a beautiful day, we enjoy our beautiful weather, we have some food, we have some drinks, we enjoy each other's company. It's very much a great establishment. So now I understand why that this was pulled off, and I understand the decision ahead of you. And I understand it's probably a difficult one, but I am here to advocate and say that this is an amenity for our downtown that we should advocate for. We need more places like this, actually, because this is when our tourists come here in the tourist season, this is the kind of place they're looking to go. I know that. So I hope that you'll vote in the affirmative of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell. Next would be Steve Johnson, who has donated time from Jason Alexander. Steve, will be 4 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor. Council member, I'm Steve Johnson. I own the property and run my business directly across the street from Rock Bar. And I want to have the City Council have a full understanding of the history of the patios on Craftsman Court before they make their decision. About 16 years ago, several businesses on the street banded together and they wanted to make Craftsman Court have more of a European feel to it. They wanted to, take up parking spots and put these outdoor patios in and have umbrellas and a lot of landscape, and so they could expand their business into it. And several years into it, it was a complete failure. 2 out of the 3 have already been closed, and they sat there empty for several years, contrary to what was discussed earlier. And it took a lot of work on a couple of us part to just waste our time fighting the situation of lost parking spots. We had a major tree taken down off the street. It's never been replaced. And they were just used as an extension to the bars. There were people out there smoking. They brought out big screen TVs. They brought out old sofas. It looked like the front porch of a frat house. It was never, ever the image that they submitted to the city as this European feel of a street. And that's just discouraging. And this is just the last patio that's left out of the 3 that were built. And I think the city had to pay to literally remove those other parking, remove those patios and put the street back. They didn't even have the businesses pay for that. So it's just discouraging to see that other business owners have to waste our time fighting for something that is city property and is benefiting basically just the one business on the street. Acme Bar was there before, and they had a full-service kitchen, and so they had a restaurant out there. They were open at noon. They were serving lunches. That doesn't happen at Rock Bar right now. In the discussion of what is food, what's pre-prepared, and they don't have a chef on staff. They don't actually make all that food. I think it's all bar food that's frozen. I don't think they have a walk-in refrigeration. I think they showed us just one freezer probably. So all of that food is just frozen and brought in. It's not as defined in where it says the business has in operation a full-service kitchen preparing and cooking, and then it says in parentheses, and not just warming and heating. That's all they do. And it's very discouraging that they don't present facts like that and, come up and see somebody say this is the truth. It's very vague, and it's not the full picture for you guys to make a wise, informed decision. And again, with the maintenance of it, I could take pictures every single day of how the area is just trashed with cigarette butts out there, and I don't even walk my dog past the alley any longer because it's just people are constantly smoking. And it's a public space. We should have full access to it. And we're leasing it to this business for just an expansion of their own bar space. And it does nothing to add to the value of our adjacent properties. And mainly I want to say, by the city not enforcing its own rules and regulations and stipulations, it forces the neighbors to act as a watchdog, which just promotes animosity between the neighbors. Most people lay low and just want to put up with the inconvenience and nuisance that this creates and as Rock Bar bends and breaks the rules. I've been very vocal in the past, and I've been up here before discussing other situations with it. And personally, me and my business have been we paid the price for speaking up. And 3 years ago, the head of security at Rock Bar vandalized my building. And you can Google Scottsdale urinator to see what actually happened. The gentleman was arrested and paid a substantial fine. But it does not mean that I don't live in fear that my property or myself is going to be hurt again just because of this situation that the city promotes. I don't like being the only person. They proclaim that there's not been any violations or any complaints. I haven't complained at all since my building's been violated. And I fear for my life from that person. And there are many violations that I could call several days a week with the city. I don't want to spend my time, I have a business I have to run myself. I don't want to spend my time watching over a business that's always pushing the rules and bending it and have my building vandalized or myself compromised.
Mr. Johnson, your time has expired. Okay. If you could wrap up, please, quickly.
I just want the city to make a wise decision and not put it on the neighbors to have to defend this all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next is Philip Carpenter, who has donated time from Paula Rudnick. 4 minutes, Mr. Carpenter.
Good evening. Greetings, Mayor and Scottsdale City Council members. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is Philip Carpenter, and I am the Executive Director of Arizonans Concerned About Smoking. My home address is 1351 West Cardinal Way, Chandler, Arizona. Our founder, Betty Carnes, lived in Scottsdale and is credited with the neighborly request of, quote, "Thank you for not smoking," end quote. Although Scottsdale has made significant tobacco control progress in the past, like doing away with cigarette vending machines, much more still needs and can be done thanks to the Smoke-Free Arizona Act and with what it allows. This became law on May 1, 2007. I've been asked to speak about the outdoor dining patio rock bar. Before I provide a recommendation, I'd like to take a minute to explain what the Smoke-Free Arizona Act notes. Paragraph B in the statute states the following: smoking is prohibited in all public places and places of employment within the state of Arizona except the following. 6, outdoor patios, so long as tobacco smoke does not enter areas where smoking is prohibited through entrances, windows, ventilation systems, or other means. Looking at this picture taken outside the Rock Bar dining patio and its 2 9-foot window openings right next to the adjoining patio, we can clearly see that Rock Bar is designed to allow secondhand smoke to drift in all directions, inside and outside, and thereby affect workers, patrons, and nearby walkers' health in a very negative manner. Secondhand smoke kills. Here's what is noted on the Arizona Department of Health Services Smoke-Free Arizona Business Compliance Comply with the Law webpage. Due to my short time, I'm just going to note a few bullets. Secondhand smoke has been proven to cause lung cancer and heart disease and has been linked to asthma and other serious respiratory problems. Secondhand smoke contains more than 60 cancer-causing compounds. Working a shift in a smoky restaurant or bar is equivalent to actively smoking nearly a pack of cigarettes. A person standing 2 feet away from a burning cigarette may inhale 10 times the cancer-causing chemicals than the person actually smoking the cigarette, because the smoke inhaled by the active smoker is filtered, while the smoke inhaled by the non-smoking bystander is not. Regarding penalties, if a violation is found, the business owner will receive a warning notice and is subject to fines between $100 to $500 per violation per day, or up to $5,000 per violation per day if a superior court determines there is a pattern of noncompliance. An individual who smokes where prohibited is guilty of a petty offense and may be fined between $50 to $300. Paragraph D in the statute states the following: notwithstanding any other provision of this section, an owner, operator, manager, or other person or entity in control of an establishment, facility, or outdoor area may declare that entire establishment, facility, or outdoor area as a non-smoking place. Regarding the Rock Bar, we would hope that we've now educated the Rock Bar manager and owners and City Council that Smoke-Free Arizona is a floor standard and that you are permitted and encouraged to aim higher regarding secondhand smoke health protections for all visitors and guests in Scottsdale. This is evidenced by more and more sports bars who have outdoor patios that have decided that smoke-free is the way to go. The Zips Sports Grill in Tempe has an outdoor patio that is smoke-free at all times. We'd encourage Scottsdale to continue aiming for that higher air quality standard and transition this location to a smoke-free outdoor patio as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. That completes testimony on this particular item. Is there any, would you like to follow up, please?